So I finally, well, it took me to, well, I was already finished, but I was kind of backed up because, as you know, wrestling is basically, because I'm covering wrestling, so wrestling is basically every week. So, I basically like have a little time to, on this channel, relegate to this channel, basically, whatever time I have left for it. But real quick, all of my other critiques, I'm gonna start to dwell deep. I just want to tell go a bit of a background too, but not the true point I'm trying to get to near the end of the video. And I'm just letting y'all know that yes, this is kind of going to be a long one, so because I want to dwell deep into why I don't really like Candyman. As I can pretty much appreciate for what it is, but because it is kind of its own thing, but then again, it's not, which is sad because you have a story right here that is basically, it's like a whole another horror too, and it's like basically kind of like the black version of Phantom of the Opera, and that's kind of sweet, but it doesn't. Well, compared to the Phantom of the Opera, it's not really, it's not really as entertaining and engaging. Well, to me, or probably others who didn't really enjoy Candyman, but I'm just giving my thoughts. So I just wanted to go, before I get into my critique of it, I just wanted to go behind the scenes basically. So yeah, it does. I don't get the concept of them. Like I said, if you see in my summary or what I'm about to tell you now, they kind of basically throw the racial tones is really outside of there. I thought that was just in there for Candyman. Whereas I was watching a remake, I thought it was just there to be there. Basically, was like I said in the 2021 one was basically it was like a BLM shoved down into your face like a poster, you have to get this, you have to see this. Of course, I didn't enjoy that. That shit was trash to me. Well, like I said, there's other. If you're not going to do it right, then don't do it at all. Because there's other movies there's other movies too, and a more recent one too that like I said, explores the story of a cop. No, wait, it explores the story of a black father and a son. I think one of his sons or his son, got basically murdered by the police, and he's on a whole mission to basically stop the police, to corrupt the system. So there's other movies that obviously do it with much more justice, and much more justice explanationized. But as far as Candyman, nope. They just want you to feel. It's like as far as with the racial tones of it, they just want you to accept that it's there. The original too, they just want you to accept that it's there and just see it to see it. It's not really explaining why it's there. But I want to talk about another thing first. Yeah, the original film is Candyman 1992. The original one is basically based on a story. If for those of y'all that didn't know, it's based on an 85 short story, 1985 short story, The Forbidden, from Books of Blood. A series of obviously it was written by Clive Barker. I don't know if he made. I probably have to check back because I know there's somebody with that name that made Hellraiser. So there's somebody else that wait what? Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he's the originator of Hellraiser. So it's based on one of his books. He's basically I guess he's a writer too, so it's based on one of his books. And kind of got a sick mind. It's basically a series of 6 original horror fiction anthologies, and it was written by the British storyteller Claude Baker. So Candyman is one of his stories. So his story was rooted in the themes, and it's even though this one the film, the original is supposed that the whole Candyman premise is like basically around Chicago, which I want to get into too later too, which I like I kind of like the setting. I still like to enjoy this kind of setting in Candyman, but not really. The setting is the original setting was it was surrounding the British class system in the native Liverpool. So the original story is actually in Liverpool, London. And but as Hollywood weird does, they like to switch up things, I guess, to make it their own. Like it's kind of their own, it's kind of scummish. Yeah. So the director, he kind of yeah, as you know about the one of the occurring themes of Hollywood. He attempted to Americanize the story, so it's not really America. It's a British story. It's a British horror anthology that all played out in London. So yeah, it's kind of scummy-ish, like I said, but so he wanted to Americanize the story by setting it in a housing development in inner city Chicago to focus on, like I said, I don't know why. So he did this in an attempt to focus the director. He did it to focus on the themes of race and social class in the United States. But as far I would have liked that still, but there's no. It's just there to be there. Yeah, it's almost like they just wanted to get this movie made and just like just the cash on the success. And he's also in the movie, which I don't know. I didn't really know because he's that much unrecognizable, forgettable. But he was in the movie too. Yeah, basically he wanted to be seen. He wanted this to be his this is my movie. So, but oh man, yeah, so he wanted to. The only reason they wanted it in Chicago, though, which not really going to Liverpool, which the story was comprised of. Going to Chicago, they wanted to focus on the themes of racism, social class, and United States, and they don't really explain that. It's just there to be there. And you hear it too, like when it basically too, like when it's kind of like of they kind of has that like slave talk too. The black people who do talk, as far as like the mother, she kind of has like that slave, that slave talk going, going back to that slave plantation talk where they address white people a certain way, like whether it's just like white people or it's like massa. I don't. Yeah, it was just what the fuck? But yeah, so like I don't know. I understand. They just like I said, they just put that there to be there. So it's not. They don't really explain why. So no, they're not really explaining. They're not really exploring themes of race and social class. Pretty much the stereotype of being white people being on top and black people being poor. I guess that they was trying, like, basically. I guess what that was, what they were talking about. So, which is ridiculous because it's basically a stereotype. So, okay, but so now the Candyman's backstory is unknown in the original. Yeah, his backstory is unknown in the original short story. So I guess in the book they don't really tell uh, which became of his which became of his legend and why he is the way he is. Which prompted him to be such ruthless and basically remorseless. So yeah, it's not really told in the story. which they're saying here. So Tony Stark, I guess, yeah, he made up his own. Yeah, he came up with his own, which is kind of, ooh, I like that. He was kind of creative with his own character. He came up with his own character, and yeah, oh, which is why, like, I'll say now too. One of the only things I really liked Candyman is when, yeah, that's what I call creativeness, and right there, because he basically just came up with his own character. Because they tried to look for the backstory, but it's really unknown. Didn't really Basically nothing about his backstory is told. So Tony Todd basically came up with his own. Yeah, and the classic line, a bit which I guess it's Tony Todd's, yeah, "Be my victim." In both the short and yeah, it's in both the short story and the movie. That's it's basically has his rhythm. It's basically, I guess, the nursery rhyme to Freddy's. It's basically his own nursery. Like when they call, like, 1 2 Freddy's coming for you. Yeah, basically that. Which is also something I want to get into, but I still like it. But you know, it's kind of weird because it's like many things in here that's kind of not like it's not original, even though some of it is, which is like kind of sad because Candyman could have became, because I heard that too. It was just written off as another slasher. It's basically which, yeah, they can basically call it that, because it calls back to it kind of calls back if you really have an eye, it calls back to like a few horror movies, which I'll get into when I get the chance to. But I just wanted to talk about this, behind the scenes. So, all right, and they say that the settings of the film is Cabrini. Yeah, I guess that was a city they were in, Cabrini Green. Yeah, the settings of both films is real. So, yeah, of course. So, I mean, if you want to have like the perfect representation of the setting of where, and like I said, I like the representation, because that's pretty much how Chicago looked. It kind of reminds me of Michigan, or Detroit, because Detroit looks way much worse, much more grittier, and the poor, the dirty trash everywhere. So